spoken about than the subject of the mark of the beast. How many of you ever heard about mark of the beast? Everybody. Everybody. And yet, it is the most confused, most, what shall I say, variations that I've ever heard. Every other year, somebody has something new that is the mark of the beast. So, for example, in Jamaica right here, when the national ID card came out, everybody swear to God was the mark of the beast. You remember that? In fact, the poor prime minister have to come out and quiet you down, says it's not the mark of the beast. And if you think an ID card is mark of the beast, you don't have a clue what mark of the beast is. And then when the Jamaican dollar changed and we get some digital dollar, again people say, whoa, mark of the beast. If you think the mark of the beast is money, you don't have a clue what mark of the beast is. And then when oh boy, when Bitcoin came over and we start using these currencies, mark of the beast. Here's the headline. The Bank of Jamaica allays fears of jam decks being tied to mark of the beast. What kind of rubbish is that? Church people need to know what the mark of the beast is. And if the people on the street don't know, you who go to church needs to know that. And I'm surprised that so many church people join the foolishness. We're going to fix it tonight. Some people say, oh, it's a chip. You know, the size of a rice grain, microchip, that they will load with information and inject it into your hand. Rubbish. Some people, hey, and when I'm finished, some people say, oh, is a COVID-19 vaccine. Rubbish. If you think mark of the beast is a vaccine, you don't have a clue. And you're the first one to be deceived by it. So if you're going to church and you don't know what the mark of the beast is, it's the most substantive piece of prophecy yet to be fulfilled. In fact, it is the last piece of prophecy in the Bible to be fulfilled. And when that happens, you can say, yes, Jesus. It is time. Is the church with me? It is the last Bible prophecy to be fulfilled. One dege Bible prophecy to be fulfilled. And when that happens, you know it's all over by the shout. So what's the mark of the beast? Well, to go into the mark of the beast, you have to go into the book of Revelation. That's where and a lot of people don't go Revelation because they're scared. I don't know what you're afraid of. It's Bible. Yeah. People just want to read Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd. You won't find mark of the beast in Psalm 23. Is the church with me? Yeah. No, you will not find it. If that's all you read, you need help. So we're going to Revelation to excavate this information. Now, all eyes on me. For you to understand, we're going to reach the mark at the very end. But for you to find what the mark is, we must first find the beast. Amen? Yes. So now, to understand this whole prophecy, you have to stay with me there. There's a cast of players. It's like a movie or a play, right? There's a cast of players that I have to introduce you to. I call it the cast of terror. Yep. I want to tell you who are the players in this movie. All right? It is, I have to introduce you to one dragon, two beasts, and an image. Are we together? Are we together? Yes, that's the cast. That's the cast of terror. One dragon, two beasts, and an image. That's how I'm going to introduce you to them. One dragon, yep, and then we have two beasts. Yeah, I've introduced you to that beast, and then this beast, and then an image. So we're going to go dive. This beast we're going to talk about too. One dragon, two beasts, beast one and beast two. Is the church with me? And an image. Okay. Now, so that's one. The next point that you need to learn before we go into this thing, in searching for the beast, I have to give you some tools with which to decode prophecy. Because prophecy is written in symbols. Is the church with me? Yes, symbols. And it's the same way. You dream, you went and dreamed, say, a big green lizard running you down. And you tell your grandma. And grandma said, All right? Grandma has an interpretation, am I right? For the green lizard. Because the green lizard means enemy. Is you all you know that? Okay. Yeah. Right. So in the same way, in the very same way the book of Revelation is written. So John saw the thing in prophecy. Is the church with me? And what he saw are some animals, what we call, same word for beast, either beast or animal, same word. Are we together? And these animals mean something. So now I have to give you the interpretation of them. Is the church with me? Good. So I'm going to give you some tools to decode this prophecy in book of Revelation. First thing, the beasts that you will see, or the animal. The Bible don't call it animal, they call it beast. And there's a reason why it call it beast. Because animals are normal. What John see is some animals that are not normal. So he called them beasts. So like, there's no animal on the planet with seven head and 10 horns. Am I right? Right. So that's why the Bible don't use the word animal. It use the word what? Beast, right. So when you see the word beast in prophecy, right, it means a state, like a government or a kingdom or a political power, a nation. Is the church with me? Good. Means that. It's beast. The next one, horns. Horns on top of the head, right? Horns refer to the type of rulership that government has. Whether it's a monarchy, which means that a king rules it. Is the church with me? Like where? Which place has a king? England, precisely. Right. So you have some countries that a king rules it. We call those monarchic. And then you have some countries that are democratic, which means you vote and get an elected person like the president of the United States. So that's not a monarchy. That's a democracy. Is the church with me? Good. So the horn symbolizes the type of rulership. If it is a king, the horn will have some crowns on it. If it is not a monarchy, it will only be horns without crowns. Are we together? Good. Let me give you some more. Now, water in prophecy means lots of people. That's why I can say, man, I stand up on the stage and I see a sea of heads. Have you noticed that word we use? We use a sea of head. It means anytime in prophecy you see a lot of water, it means a lot of people. It means it's a densely populated area. Are we good? Here's another tool: land. So if in the prophecy I see something about land, land means it is sparsely populated, hardly anybody lives there. While water means that it is densely populated. Are we together? Are we together? Good. Some more tools for you. Some more to you. In prophecy, a woman means church. Right. Church. A bad woman is a bad church. A prostitute or a whore is a bad church. A decent woman is a good church. Is the church with me? Good. And here's another one. Sword means war. Right, sword. If you see anything in sword, it means war. And then the last one is in the prophecy, dragon. Dragon means who? Satan or his agent. That's right, his agent. All right, we're good now? You remember them? They're coming up in a quiz tomorrow. A word for the wise is sufficient. All right. So I know the quiz master writing down. So make sure you write it down. All right. So that is a tool you need to decode the prophecy. So let's roll. So now we're going to the book of Revelation. We're going to meet the first beast. How many beasts again? Huh? 2. 1 dragon, 2 beasts, and an image. Are we together? Good. So we're gonna meet the first beast. The first beast is in the book of Revelation chapter 13. Right. That's a chapter some people don't read. Verse 1. John the Revelator, the Apostle John, was banished on the Isle of Patmos. And it is on that island that God gave him this vision. And he wrote it. He says, then I stood on the sand of the sea. What does sea mean? And I saw a beast. I saw a beast. What does beast mean? Yes, it means a government, a nation, or a power, or a kingdom. Is the church with me? Good. I saw a beast rising up out of so this kingdom came up out of a densely populated area. Are you with me? Good. Rise up out of the sea. And it is having 7 heads and 10 horns. It has 7 heads and 10 horns. Now, clue number 1 is the sea. Right? And we talk about that. It's a come out of a populated area. Next thing we know, clue number 2. It had 7 heads and 10 horns, and it had a blasphemous name on its head. Right? And we talk about that. Here's it. It had 7 heads and 10 horns, and its horns 10 crowns, and on his head a blasphemous name. Well, what did we say horns are about again? Type of rulership, right? Type of rulership. Notice that these horns have what? Crowns on them, which means that they are ruled by kings. Good. Now, very important. Bible scholars already, by the time we reach here, Bible scholars already begin to identify which power this is, right? They're ready to identify that this looks like the kingdom of Rome. The kingdom of what? Rome. But it is Rome at a time when Rome was when Rome had imploded. Because if you know any little history, you will know that Rome is the last of the major world powers, right? There's Babylon, then there's Medo-Persia, then there's Greece, and then there is Rome. Nobody ever destroyed Rome. Rome Rome split up into 10 different tribes because they were having infighting inside the kingdom. Is the church with me? Is the church with me? Good. And the 10 different tribes became 10 different nations. Those nations are the ones you know to be in Europe, like France and Germany and Spain, and those are the 10 nations. Are you with me? When they broke up, every one of them was headed by a king. Hence the 10 crowns. Is the church with the preacher? Good. And they had a blasphemous name, which means on their head, which means that the government at the time was involved in blasphemous stuff. Hold on to that. We're coming down. Clue number 3 to confirm it, the looks and the gift. Here is verse 2. Verse 2. Now the beast which I saw was like a leopard. His feet were like the feet of a bear. You have barefoot. That's a nice thing, barefoot. yeah. Let me laugh at that. He had barefoot, am I right? Yeah, he looked like a leopard, but his feet were the feet of a bear, and his mouth the mouth of a. So he had different parts making it up. Is the church with me? And then the text says, and the dragon gave him something. What? Power. What else? His throne, and what else? Great authority. Now, what is this beast? This beast, again, part of the clue that confirmed that this is Rome. This is Rome. We know it is Rome. That's what it looks like. Some artists put it together. 7 heads and 10 horns. It had a little iron face. It looks like a leopard, and its feet is the feet of bear. Like, them old car with different old parts make it up. You know why? Why? Because if you read by prophecies of Daniel, you will know that each of these animals that we just mentioned a while ago symbolize a different nation, right? So back in Babylon, the lion was Babylon, and the bear was Medo-Persia, and the leopard was Greece, and this is Rome. So now what have happened, what you're seeing in prophecy is that, watch this, Media Persia conquered Babylon, so the bear conquered the lion, and when one country conquered another country, then they just embrace all of them and bring them into their kingdom. Are you with me? Merge them in. And so Media Persia, the bear, merge in Babylon. And then Greece conquer Media Persia, so Greece just merge in that one. And then Rome conquer Greece, so Rome just merge in that. So Daniel saw in Rome a little bit of the bear, a little bit of the lion, and a little bit, is the church with me? That's what he saw there. So now Bible scholars confirm that the kingdom that he saw is the kingdom of Rome. Then the text says, the red dragon does something. Gave the beast power, throne, and authority. Okay, so if the beast is Rome, the political Rome headed by the Caesars, watch me, then who is the dragon? Who is the dragon? So, fasten your seatbelt, because this is a little murky. So you're going to stay with me. Is the church with me? You're going to stay with me. I'm going to introduce you to the dragon. It will surprise you. Are you ready for this? Revelation 12 verse 1 is where we found him. Bible says, now a great sign appeared where? In heaven. And a woman, who is woman again? Clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and her head a garland of 12 stars. Then being with child, she cried in labor and in pain to give birth. Verse 3, and another sign appeared in heaven while this woman, pregnant woman, is about to give birth. Behold, a great fiery red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 diadems or crown on his head. Where did we see somebody looking like that a while ago? 7 heads and 10 horns. Rome, precisely, the beast, first beast, am I right? So notice this dragon looks exactly like Rome. Watch what is happening here. Watch what is happening here. Good. So 7 heads and 10. Okay, so let's go on. His tail drew a third of the stars of heaven and threw them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman who was ready to give birth to devour her child as soon as it was born, ready to eat the child up. But the text says, she bore a male child who was to rule all nations with the rod of iron, and her child was caught up to God and to his good. Now, the woman fled in the wilderness where she was, where a place was prepared by God that they should feed her there 1,260 days. Now, let me ask you. So, what drama in Bible do you think this is referring to? Yeah, the birth of Christ. You remember that? Yes. When Christ was, watch this, when Christ was born, somebody went after him. Am I right? Yes. You remember who went after him? Yes, King Herod. Tell the wise man, go search diligently until you have found him, and when you find him, bring me. And when he did not find him, what did they do? They killed all baby boys 2 years and under. Are you with me? And what God had to rescue Jesus and send Mary down into Egypt. Is the church with the preacher? Good. Now, so notice the kingdom that came after, watch this is very important. The kingdom that came after Jesus is also Rome. Take note of that. Are you with me? The kingdom that came after Jesus is also Rome. And notice the text says that they also went after the woman and she ran away into the wilderness. Is the church with me? That's when, after Jesus came and set up the church and was caught up back to heaven, Rome persecuted the church. And the church had to run into the wilderness. Is the church are you with the preacher? For 1,260 60 days, the period of the dark ages. We'll come back to that in a minute. So then, why does the red dragon and why does the first beast look alike? Hang on. We're going to go further. Because, watch this now, Rome has two faces. Follow the preacher. The Rome that went after Jesus was the Rome that was headed by emperors. That was the political Rome. Is the church with the preacher? That was the kingdom of Rome, the empire of Rome. These are warriors. These are Rome headed by the Caesars. When Jesus was around, Jesus says, what belonged to Caesar? Give it to Caesar, right? At that time, Rome was headed by the Caesar. That's the political Rome. That's the red dragon. So why is the dragon is not the Satan? No, it is because Satan works through. Is the church with me? So political Rome was an agent of Satan. Are we together? Yes. When Satan working through you, you and Satan are the same. Am I right? Yes. So Satan worked through Rome, right? Because Rome was the agent of Satan. That's the red dragon. That's headed by the Caesars. But there is Rome still exists today. Am I right? Yes. But the face of Rome is no longer Caesar. When we mention the word Rome, what comes to us now is church. See the problem now? Yeah. Because Rome is no longer headed by Caesars. Rome is now headed by church. And Rome is no longer political. Rome is more religious. But it's the same Rome. That's why both of them have the same 7 heads and 10 horns. Is the church with me? Good. No, it's very important. So what happened? How did the change take place? The change take place because the dragon gave the beast something. Yeah. Here's what the text says. Now the beast which I saw was like leopard, his feet were like feet of bear, and his mouth like mouth of lion. And the dragon gave him power. What else? His throne. And what else? Great authority. So if you did not know why the Roman, by the way, have you noticed what we call the church? Roman Catholic. Yeah. If you did not know why the Roman Catholic Church is so powerful and so large and so rich, if you didn't know the history, this is where it starts from. So what happened there? Well, we are told 538 AD that the political leader of Rome, Constantine, stay with the preacher, decided to vacate Rome, where the headquarters of his kingdom was, right, and transfer himself from Rome to Constantinople, and then hand over Rome to the bishop of Rome. Is the church with me? So now the bishop of Rome took over the city of Rome. Watch this. And therefore, not only did he take over the city of Rome, but the Constantine gave him power and gave him authority. So the church now rose and become the most powerful institution on the planet. Is the church with me? That's where you get the power from. This is the successor of the dragon. In 538 AD it happened. So the Pope is now sitting where the Caesars used to sit. Oh man, you didn't get that. I said the Pope is now sitting where the Caesars used to sit. That's why there's no other church on the planet that is as powerful as this one. Okay? Yeah. To the bishop of Rome. Is the church with me? So now the bishop of Rome took over the city of Rome. Watch this. And therefore, not only did he take over the city of Rome, but the Constantine gave him power and gave him authority. So the church now rose and become the most powerful institution on the planet. Is the church with me? That's where you get the power from. That's where you get the power from. This is the successor of the dragon. In 538 AD it happened. So the Pope is now sitting where the Caesars used to sit. Oh man, you didn't get that. I said the Pope is now sitting where the Caesars used to sit. That's why there's no other church on the planet that is as powerful as this one. Okay? Yeah, according to S.A. Bible Commentary, Volume 7, the papacy exercised control in matters of political and religious things over the conscience of men. The church became so powerful that all the 10 kings that we talk about there had to bow down to the Pope. There is this popular painting that some say is a forged painting, but they convey the handover of that gift. Right? 4th century Emperor Constantine the Great supposedly transferred authority over Rome and the western part of the Roman Empire. That's how the church gets so big and mighty. Is the church with me? Yes. They get a gift. Now, clue number 4. Clue number 4. To confirm that it is that same church. Here's it. Clue number 4. Clue number 4 says, and I saw one of his head as it had been mortally wounded, and his deadly wound was healed. Get a bad wound, but he didn't die. Watch this. He got a bad wound, but he didn't die. The wound was healed. And then the text says, and the whole, read with me, and the whole world, what? Marveled and followed the beast. Well, let's go to prophecy. And I saw, here's it. Text says, I saw one of his head was wounded. That happened in 1798. The first pope ever to be touched by another man. Because you can't touch the Pope. 1798, Pope Pius VI was taken prisoner by one of General Berthier of France. Yeah. Who he was instructed not to, but he went straight into the Vatican and took him out of his seat and took him and make him a prisoner. All right? Bible history tells us he was stripped of his power, both civil and ecclesiastical power. He died in exile in France in August 29, 1799. And that was the deadly wound. The first time the head of the church taken prisoner and died in house arrest. And so that was a deadly wound. But the prophecy says that the wound would be healed. And so by the following year, a new pope was elected and things are back on street again. But the last part of the text says when that happened, the whole world would do what? Wonder. Hear the text. All the world would marvel and follow the beast. Everywhere. 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 Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands years. No other church leader on the planet like this one. And what you're looking at is prophecy. The whole world would marvel and follow the beast. Now we have a new, and by the way, remember, the Pope is not the beast, it is the entire system. Is the church with me? If the Pope was the beast, then when the Pope died, we would say the beast died. No. It is a system. We have a new Pope in place. Now, clue number 5. This beast accepts worship and make war. This is a strange thing, you know. How do you make war when you're accepting worship? Verse 4, read with me. So the whole world, they worship the dragon who gave authority to the beast, and they worship thee. So whatever the beast is, it's a religious system that accepts in the church. Saying, so when they worship the beast, they say, who is like the beast? Who is able to make? So this is a church that makes. No, you don't get it as yet. Let me talk to these people. This is a church, a religious system that makes. This is a church that has a history of making. Good. If you know anything about the Roman Catholic Church, you know there's a long history of wars. Hang on. Verse clue number 6. This body will speak what? Blasphemy. Here's it. We read verse 5. And he was giving a mouth, speaking great things, and what else? Blasphemy. And he was given authority to continue for 42 months. 42 months is the same period of 1,620 days, right? So 42 months is the same period that the church was in hiding. Notice the text says that he was given authority, mouth speaking great things and blasphemy. What is blasphemy? He was given mouth. When he talks, he speaks blasphemy. What is blasphemy? Well, I won't allow you to give me the definition. I'll allow the Bible to give me definition. You want a Bible definition? Yes, here's it. So I found. Then he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and those who... No, what is blasphemy? Mark 2 verse 5 is where I found the definition. Jesus was in a heated conversation with some Jews. Here's the story. When Jesus saw their faith, he said to the paralytic man, he was healing the paralytic man, son, your sins are forgiven. All right? Heal the man, son, your sins are forgiven. And the text says, and some of the scribes were sitting there, and they reasoned in their heart, verse 7, saying, why, come on, help me read, why does this man speak what? Blasphemy like this. And here they're going to explain what blasphemy is. Who can forgive sins but God alone? So blasphemy is when man take over the role that belonged to. The text says, this beast will do exactly that. Oh, what will they do? Forgive sins. Forgive sins. So this be, help us. Listen, the Bible is right that you tremble. This system, that's why scholars know this is the Catholic Church. It is the only church on the planet that think it has the authority for sinners to come before the priest, bow down, and he have the authority to forgive sins. No man has that authority. The forgiveness of sins is the prerogative of God and God alone. And anytime man start to forgive sins, you're now acting as God. That's blasphemy. Is the church with me? That's blasphemy. That's why they wanted to stone Jesus. When Jesus says, son, your sins forgiven, the guy said, who is this guy? Only God can do that. Well, hello, I have a church down here. Everybody doing that in the church. See, hey. And you know what is problematic because of this text? So if those of you watching, listen to me. This text, when a church decides to extend forgiveness of sins, you're forgiving a person's sin, right? It means that you have taken over the role of the high priest who is in heaven. Hebrews 4 verse 14 says, we don't need no priest on earth because we have a high priest in heaven. Here's the text. Seeing then that we have a what? Great high priest that is passed into heaven. Who is he? Jesus, the Son of God. Let us hold fast our profession, and let us therefore do what? Come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain what? mercy and get grace in the time of need. In other words, when you have sins to forgiven, come boldly to the throne of grace. You don't need to go to a priest who will go to Mary, who will go to somebody, who will go to God. You have a direct access to God. The minute Jesus died and went back to heaven, he started to function as our priest. Is the church with me? So anytime a priest starts to forgive sin, you're disrespecting God. You as man making yourself to be. That's blasphemy. And this is the only church I know on the planet that does that. So scholar says, so we know what that beast is. Clue number 7. Clue number 7. This system makes war with the saints. Verse 7. It was granted to him to do what? It was granted. John said, I saw this religious system make war with the saints, meaning persecuted the saints, hunt them down and kill them, burn them at the stake. Is the church with me? Yeah, burn them. And by the way, and the text says, and he would overcome them. John saw it. For hundreds of years, Christians had to run into the mountains and hide in caves, in the catacombs. Is the church with me? And the text says, authority was given to him over every, read the text, no man. Authority was given him over every, he became the most powerful man on the earth. That's a magazine picture. The most powerful man in history. Is the church with me? Yeah. That's why when this Pope took over, Pope John Paul II, one of the first things he did was to offer apologies to those whom the church has hurt over the years. Is the church with me? Yes, big apologies. Now, verse 8. We're coming to verse 8 now. Verse 8 says, all who dwell on the earth, especially in Manchester, will worship him. Watch this. Take your time. I'm going to repeat that from you. The prophecy says, all who dwell on the earth, including Manchester, because Manchester is on the earth, right? Will worship him, whose names have not been written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. Did you get that? If your name is not in the Lamb's book of life, then you automatically is a beast worshiper. Whichever church you go, whether you go church or don't go to church, if your name is not in the Lamb's book of life, read again for me, all who dwell on the earth will worship him, whose names have not been written in the... Verse 9. Therefore, if anyone has an ear, let him hear. Let him hear. Okay, that's beast 1. And so we introduce you to the dragon, and we introduce you to beast 1. Is the church with me? Good. And we realize that the dragon and beast 1 are the same smaddy. They just that they change face. Is the church with me? Good. Beast number 2.